we will be opening on a gap down. Overnight inventory was trending in the Asian session, and Europe did bounce from weekly low and now is balancing around key 37.75 level. Going into today's session, the probably most important level will be this overnight low, weekly low area. This 75 is losing its importance because now we see some acceptance being lower. Early on, I think that there is slight. I mean, it is not that easy as usual, because we have Opex, we have some banks earnings, and some news with relation to stimulus package and the president. So many factors can influence today's early trading, but given that overnight inventory is not short and that we have a gap, we might see an early attempt to fill the gap. If we see that and the gap holds, which means that, for example, we can't reach this pullback high, I will try to look for an excess, but the odds are quite slim that I will find a good entry, and I will be targeting first point of control from overnight and then those lows. I think that all those traders were trying hard to get higher prices. I mean, maybe not from Wednesday, but Wednesday and Thursday, we've seen those poor highs, those poor references stacking, and all those traders are starting to puke, and the first sign of this we've seen here, and today we might see some additional follow-through if we trade below this area. So given that this is around 50 points of range, so we might see another dip, another 50 points, so this would give us around 37.20, give or take. So if we start trading lower early on, I'd like to see if we can trade below overnight low, and I would be entering on pullbacks to short, but this is also quite a risky trade because we won't correct overnight inventory first, so maybe it's better to wait for initial inventory correction and then rolling over, so then to enter on pullbacks if we start one time framing lower, because if we don't correct inventory early on, we've seen this play out many times, and we might see an early look below and fail. Here I have some resting liquidity from some time ago, so maybe if the liquidity is still there, I haven't checked, so we might see an early attempt to clean this and then trade higher. Then I would be targeting first overnight point of control and then gap fill and further on. If we are able to close the gap and trade inside and back below yesterday's low, then I think this is the best short opportunity. Well, besides this one, and if we start trading higher, I mean, if we start building TPOs above overnight point of control and within yesterday's range, then I think we might see us retesting 3800, and this is going to be key if we find acceptance within yesterday's value or not. So this today's profile might look like this, with an early strong move to the upside, or we can see something like this. I'm not sure about balancing scenario. I think that we should or might see a stronger move from this area, but in case we don't see it, the odds are of course that we might be balancing, and if we start making wide point of control without extension to any direction, I think that I still should be very careful, because we might see similar development of profile as yesterday with double distribution, but because of the options expiration, and this might bring volatility in the afternoon, so need to be very very cautious today. There are some external factors that are distracting for me quite a lot, to be honest, and I didn't prepare well as I'd like. I didn't replay the session, didn't review my yesterday trading that well, so my preparation today isn't that great. I have this chart which is something interesting. I was looking for something to gauge the extension one side or another, and instead of using Bollinger Bands I have this linear regression channel, and starting from this move higher and the dip, we can see that it really holds this +2 deviation from this regression channel, and now in the overnight we reached +1 area. If we are starting to trade lower, I think that the next support may be going to be this one. It is not going to be that exact, but I think that this might be an interesting gauge of how far extended we are to the downside, or if we are at quite fair price. Well, one thing worth noticing is that we've built some decent volume here, and the other volume node is below 3700, so if we are to trade lower, we might see us traveling quite a distance today.